Hello and welcome to SLU. This is your interface to outer space. I am Trisha Ennis and I will be your host today as we take a live look at views of our moon, our closest. Today's partial. Now, I know some of you are thinking, hey, isn't there another eclipse coming up soon? And yes, there is. There is a total solar eclipse coming up soon, and it will be pretty excellent. But today, we are going to be talking about the lunar eclipse. We'll be talking about the solar eclipse plenty as well. Don't worry about it. So let's quickly talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing today, this afternoon, depending on where you are. So this isn't going to be a total lunar eclipse. You'll probably think of eclipses as that really cool moment when the moon turns orange. You know, it slowly. Not really seeing today. We're going to be seeing a teeny tiny bit of that, but most of the moon is going to darken as opposed to change color because this is a partial lunar eclipse, not a total lunar eclipse. So we won't be seeing a blood moon. You'll actually have to wait until January of 2018 for the next total lunar eclipse. And of course, you'll be able to watch that as well right here on SLU. So some people say that partial lunar eclipses are actually really difficult to see, but we've definitely witnessed them before here on SLU. What we'll see, like I said, is a gradual darkening of one side of the full moon as it passes into Earth's penumbral shadow, and we'll explain about that a little more later in the show. As well. Oh, that the Earth has two shadows. We're going to be seeing the moon pass into both of them at least a little bit today, so it's pretty cool. But what about visuals, right? That's what you're here for. You want to see this happen. So because this is an eclipse, it'll only be visible from certain parts of the world, which means that it's only, the nice thing about lunar eclipses is that they're actually visible wherever the moon is up. If you are in the US like I am today, you'll notice that the moon is not up right now because it is daytime. So we've actually had to go around the globe to find some of our feed partners in other places where it is dark right now, including South Africa. And so luckily, there's around the world bringing us those feeds today. We're going to have a feed from our friend Alan Versfeld, who's in South Africa. He'll be coming on a little later in the show with some live views of the moon from his location. And until then, we're also going to be having live feeds from our friends Kos Koreanis in South Africa and from our friend Jonathan Bradshaw in Australia. Now, we just spoke to Jonathan, and he will hopefully be coming on very soon. But we do have this one problem with celestial viewing, which is that we are at the mercy of the weather. And it turns out that the weather is not really cooperating in Australia right now. They had clear skies a few minutes ago, suddenly it was just cloud cover. So we're going to get a look at what Jonathan is actually seeing, which is just cloudy, in a few minutes. But until then, he's also going to come on and show us the eclipse as it happens, and hopefully it'll start clearing up a little bit there. He did say that he is very confident that we will be able to see at least the partial phase when that piece of the moon does change color and become the umbral phase of this eclipse, regardless of what the weather's like. So we know we're going to have some really great visuals for you today. And of course, we're waiting on Alan. When he is ready to set up, we will have that as well. Obviously, right now, Alan's observatory, which is a but you know, there's a difference between how we see the moon in the northern and the southern hemisphere, which we'll get into a little later in the show. So anyway, Those are our feed partners. We're going to hopefully be seeing some really great feeds from them. We'll also be checking in at our own observatory. We'll be talking about the total solar eclipse today and a whole bunch of other stuff. We're going to be joined by so many exciting guests today. This is going to be a nice long show as we watch this entire eclipse from start to finish. So we're going to be joined by a bunch of exciting guests from all areas of expertise. First off, we're going to have SLU astronomer and author Bob Berman, of course. He will be on with us to discuss the science behind the moon and this event, of course, and he'll even be able to tell us why a lunar eclipse is happening so close to a solar and why it happens. And later on, we're going to have segments from yours truly, talking about the culture of the moon and eclipses and why we find them so interesting in general. We'll also have segments with SLU astronomer Eric Edelman, where he'll be talking about lunar eclipses specifically, why they happen, what causes ones like the ones we're seeing today, the difference between partial and penumbral and umbral or total. And that is all coming up. We're also going to be checking in who is out on location today because we are kicking off our SLU road trip, which is traveling across the country from Connecticut to Idaho, taking you all the way to our location for this year's transcontinental total solar eclipse. It's a big, awesome day here on SLU, and that is all coming up. So first, we're actually going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to jump right in with Bob Berman to kick off our lunar eclipse today. Don't go away. Can't hear the show at all? Okay, that's a problem. Can you check his, my brain's not working, I'm sorry. Can you check his return video? Oh, you know why he can't hear me? Because he's set up to line. He can only hear what's coming through the Skype boxes. Switch it back to SDI embedded. On Skype, yeah. No, it's fine. Can you, I mean, I know you're doing something, but if you can switch it back to Jonathan's. Yep. Okay, I'm talking. Hello and welcome back to our partial lunar eclipse show here on SLU. We are just watching our feeds from Australia right now, where if you were here for the beginning of the show, you know that it's a that it's kind of in Australia right now, but the moon is peeking out. So hopefully we're going to be able to see something really cool coming up in just a little bit when we reach the umbral phase of this eclipse. Right now, just a few minutes ago, actually, the penumbral phase of the eclipse started, which is when the moon moves into one of Earth's shadows. And we won't probably see a ton, but keep an eye on these images, keep an eye on these live feeds, and see if you can see that darkening of the moon happen. And feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, on Facebook, on slu.com, of course. It's really nice to see the moon changing its face live on the air. Now we're just starting, like I said, we're just starting to see the moon go behind that first Earth's shadow. But did you know that the Earth has two different shadows? I bet you didn't. At least some of you probably didn't. As we said earlier, we're not going to be seeing a full lunar eclipse today, but we do have SLU astronomer and author Bob Berman here with us on the show to tell us why we won't be seeing a total lunar eclipse and what the difference is between those two Earth shadows. Hi, Bob. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Trish. Good to see you.
You as well. How are you doing on this fine lunar eclipse afternoon now?
It's pretty good here. Look, kind of a soggy day in the mountains of upstate New York, but I see elsewhere in the world there's a lineup of celestial bodies.
Yeah, elsewhere in the world there are all sorts of different things happening, and it's might be soggy in New York. It's nice and clear here in Middle America in Ohio, but it's all sorts of cloudy in Australia, which is such a bummer. But we're still seeing the moon peeking between those clouds, so hopefully we're going to be seeing some changes. Can you explain, like really simply, for those of us who are scientists, what it actually is?
Yes, you were actually breaking up a little bit, but
Oh,
I'm going to infer your question is the difference between different kinds of eclipses.
yeah.
And there's not just a difference in how they look, but there's a difference in what they do to us and how they feel and how profound they are. We all know that coming up in exactly half one of one lunar orbit, coming up in just 2 weeks from now on the 21st of August, is the great All-American, because the U.S. is the only country in which the totality passes through, the great total solar eclipse. That's the best of the eclipses. That's it changes people's lives. Animals go crazy. Amazing things appear in the sky that people have never seen before, and it feels powerful. It is just above and beyond any experience, in my opinion and many other people's opinions, that you'll have on Earth. It's the greatest experience you can have in nature or in any way. So we use the word total solar eclipse for that. And unfortunately, that same word eclipse appears in other events, such as today's eclipse. Here we have a partial lunar eclipse. Now, a lunar eclipse is never as dramatic as a total solar eclipse in the best of times, but in this case, the moon does not go completely into Earth's shadow, which is not as bad as it sounds, because honestly speaking, a total lunar eclipse where the moon is in Earth's shadow and turns a coppery red is nice. It's interesting in the same sense that watching beavers build a dam is interesting, but it's not going to make people weep and make them change their lives and the way a total solar eclipse does and will do, as we'll see 2 weeks from now, when many of us hopefully will travel to see it. Others will watch it here at SLU, and we'll see that most dramatic event. Here instead, the moon goes into Earth's shadow, and if it were a total eclipse, it would turn a coppery red, which is nice. But here it's only skirting the outer parts of our dark shadow. And before it does that, it goes into Earth's outer shadow or penumbral shadow, which is generally invisible. You don't see anything. We don't see anything happening at all. So you're talking about, let's say you're falling in love with someone. What are the different levels? Well, probably the lowest level is you call them on the phone and they're at home. The phone rings out, rings 5 times, and you hang up. How would you rate that in terms of a love affair and falling in love? How would you rate that level of experience? Calling, no one answers. You'd have to say, well, that's not very high in the level of like bringing tears to your eyes, or better still would be if he or she answered the phone at least and you had a conversation. And better still is when the two of you are together and you look into each other's eyes and all that magic happens. So all of those are aspects perhaps of the same thing. Yeah, falling in love with somebody, but very, very different. Well, even more dramatically different is this: a total solar eclipse versus a partial. Then less than that would be a partial lunar eclipse, and less than that would be a penumbral eclipse, because nothing happens. It's a full moon. But I'll tell you why it's still interesting, because that the moon is going to into any part of Earth's shadow can only happen when the Earth and the moon and the sun are aligned in 3 dimensions in space. And this happens, um, it's part of the same event that's going to produce the great August 21st solar eclipse, because the moon's orbit has a 5-degree tilt to the Earth's orbit around the sun. So for all 3 bodies to meet in 3 dimensions means that the moon has to be aligned with the crossing point in its tilted orbit called a node. And that's what will happen, bam, right on the day of the 21st. That moon is going to be crossing a node and be aligned in 3 dimensions. Well, there's another node on the opposite side of moon's orbit, and that's where it is located right now, this minute. It's passing through the opposite node and is also aligned enough in 3 dimensions to at least produce some kind of lunar eclipse. So even though, yes, it's less of a dramatic event, nonetheless, this is in a very real sense part of this grand celestial process that is unfolding, and that 2 weeks from now, when the moon is on the other side of its orbit, right now it's full. A solar eclipse only happens when it's new. So it's very much part of it. In fact, I'd invite everybody to watch the moon in the days to come. It'll be out later and later and later at night, but this is the same lunation, the same orbit of the moon that will give us the eclipse. It's preparing to go in front of the sun. And as part of that preparation, it invariably must go into Earth shadow 2 weeks before or after. And that's what we're seeing. So it's exciting. It's an exciting event, even if it's not a very visually exciting event.
So you mentioned this a little bit. Is that the total solar eclipse is in 2 weeks, and we see a lunar eclipse every time there is a solar eclipse. We see one within 2 weeks, either before or after, like you just said. Why is that? Is it just because of this very specific dance that they do?
Yes, it has to do with, again, that orbit. If the moon's orbit around Earth were precisely in line with the Earth's orbit around the sun, well, we would have an eclipse, both a lunar eclipse and then 2 weeks later a solar eclipse, every time the moon reached full moon and then new moon. We'd have one a month. But because the moon is tilted in the way it goes around us, usually when we look towards the in the sky toward the sun, which we of course can't do without going blind. You cannot stare at the sun.
I
But
can't do that.
each month when the moon passes the sun at new moon, it misses it because the lineup isn't perfect. And also at full moon, instead of going into Earth's shadow, it misses the shadow, it passes above it or passes below it. And sometimes quite a bit above it, below it. Can pass above it or below it by 10 full moon widths. In other words, it misses the shadow by quite a lot. So tonight, the fact that it's just clipping the edge of Earth's umbral or darker shadow still shows it's a pretty good matchup in 3 dimensions, and is, yeah, this is the precursor for the perfect matchup that will happen when it travels half the orbit to the opposite node or crossing point in the moon's orbit, and then bam, precisely aligns in 3 dimensions with the sun and the earth and your spot on Earth. In fact, the sun, the moon, and your spot on Earth forming a straight line in space if you're in the spot where the eclipse is total. And that's maybe one reason why you feel such a dramatic effect. Astronomers never believe in astrology, so it's not astrological, but it's something that's going on. I'm convinced that if you were blind, you'd know that it was happening because it's a powerful presence, a total solar eclipse is. It's life changing.
Yeah,
And
and it affects a lot of your senses too. Like you said, if you were blind, you'd probably know it was happening because things get so quiet.
yes, absolutely. And Trish, will you be at totality?
I will not. I will be stuck here in during. We will be getting, I think it's an 85% partial eclipse, so it's not too bad. But of course, it's nothing like totality. So you want to be on that line of totality for the eclipse in a couple weeks.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, 85% partial is sort of like 85% falling in love, or 85 going to a warm tropical beach and then 85% heading towards that nice water and then stopping before you reach the water's edge. I don't know what's a good analogy. These are actually terrible analogies that I'm coming up with, but nonetheless, yeah,
Well, I was lucky enough to see, so I have some experience with the total
good,
solar
good, good.
eclipse. So
Excellent.
I'll be sad to be missing out on it. And I know our members definitely want to be seeing it. So get yourselves out to Stanley, Idaho. All members are allowed to come to our road trip event in Stanley, Idaho. So going back to lunar eclipses for a second, you and I have both mentioned this idea of the penumbral shadow and the umbral shadow, and how when the moon passes into the umbral shadow, it turns orange. What causes that exactly? Why does the moon turn orange when it moves into the umbral shadow?
Well, it's really the light of all the combined sunrises and sunsets on Earth that get refracted or bent onto the moon's surface at that time. So the sunlight passing through Earth's shadow has a reddening effect. Put it another way, if you were on the moon during a total lunar eclipse, you'd look back toward the sun and you'd see the Earth eclipsing the sun, and surrounding the Earth would be this nice deep orangey red ring of light, which again is all of Earth's sunrises and sunsets combined into a ring. And that's the only light that hits the moon's surface at that time. So it turns the moon's surface orangey. And so back here on Earth, we see that.
Wow, that's actually kind of beautiful when you think about it.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you were on the moon, like you said, watching a total lunar eclipse from the other side, would you see a total solar eclipse?
Yes, exactly. They are complementary. In fact, all the phases of the moon and the Earth are complementary. When we look up in the sky and we see a thin crescent moon, that's just when anybody on the moon would see a big fat gibbous Earth, almost a full. And on the moon, when you see a full Earth, that's when from Earth we see a new moon, or the moon is black. So it's complementary. And so yes, the eclipses are complementary too. At the time when one type of eclipse happens for one, the opposite type of eclipse happens for the other.
That is actually really kind of cool. Now I want to go see from there because I think that would be pretty awesome.
Yes, I'm going to have to infer what you meant because you are freezing and breaking up.
Oh,
So this is like a challenge. Anybody who's been into journalism or radio or TV can sympathize with me. And I see you on the screen and your enthusiasm, and you say that will be, and then you freeze for a moment, and then explain what it is, and then say pretty awesome. So I have to try to figure out what exactly was awesome. You've seen a lot of
I can
awesome things,
always
but
repeat it, Bob. I was just talking about how I think I want to travel to the moon and see a total.
I see. I see. Okay, you're braver than I am wanting to travel to the moon. I think that would be
You don't want to go
risky.
to the moon?
No, and I'm not afraid. I'm a pilot and an airplane
I
owner, and I'm not
know.
afraid of leaving the ground. But astronauts, they're really brave. They're brave people too,
Yes, they
because
are.
yeah, I mean, there's been quite a few casualties too, so we know it's risky. They're brave people, braver than I am.
It definitely is risky, and they're definitely brave. Now I said earlier in the show that we have to wait until January of next year to see the next total lunar eclipse. So it's been a whole year without that I have. I
You
froze
broke
again.
up,
I
and
broke up
was
again.
there
Is it
was
is it rare to have an entire year like this year, 2017? We didn't have a single total lunar eclipse. We had a lot of partial and penumbral
oh yeah,
eclipses.
yeah,
Is
yeah.
that rare?
It's not that rare actually.
Oh,
Lunar eclipses are much more common than total solar eclipses for any given place on Earth, because when they happen, half of Earth gets to see them. Whereas but they're actually a little rarer than solar eclipses. But a solar eclipse, the moon shadow only falls on a very narrow ribbon or path on the Earth's surface, so fewer people see them. The exact statistics are any given place on Earth waits 360 years on average between seeing a total solar eclipse. But any place on Earth sees a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse, every couple of years on average. So that's why we've all seen them in our lives, lunar
sure.
eclipses.
Yes, it's those solar eclipses that are elusive, not so much the lunar eclipses. You can see, of course, if you're looking at our live show right now, you can see some lunar eclipses that we've actually captured using SLU and some really from the reddening from the umbral phase. It's just really awesome to watch, especially sped up like this, to really see those changes. Now, speaking of the total solar eclipse, Bob, I know that you have seen I know you've seen a lot of total solar eclipses, or at least a few. You've seen more than me. And then I know you're going to be traveling to the eclipse this year. So what are you going to be doing in 2 weeks?
Well, I'm leading a group of, we always have Eclipse tours, and this one has 110 people, more than most. And this will be my eighth total solar eclipse since going back to when I was really a kid in 1970. Our first one was also in America, in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Wow.
And since then, we've taken people to India and Libya and the Libyan desert and, well, really all around the world. This one's kind of easy being in the United States. So we'll be in Casper, Wyoming, not too far to your east. You'll be in Stanley, Idaho, which is an excellent place
Yep.
to observe it. I don't mean you, but I mean SLU. And
I will not be there.
yep. So, wishing, of course, SLU clear weather, and us in Casper, Wyoming, clear weather, and I'll be on that show a little bit from Stanley, and I'm still urging everybody who can go. Even now, it's not too late. You won't get a hotel now, but you don't have to sleep in the path of totality. You can, for example, St. Louis is just outside the path of totality. You could fly in there, stay in there overnight, rent a car, and then drive toward Carbondale, Illinois, or in any of the towns toward Carbondale where the eclipse is total, and just drive there that morning. Hopefully, you won't hit too much of a traffic jam, and just watch it from any library lawn or athletic field or high school stadium or anywhere really, and see it. So it's not too late, and I hope to convince people. Yeah, SLU's coverage will be great, but if you can go and see it yourself in person, do so.
Yeah, definitely. If you can see it yourself in person, do it. Have you been seeing where there are certain communities that are like preparing for disaster, uh, sort of level of preparedness for the number of
I,
people that are
I've
going to
been
be
hearing
flocking to
that.
these towns?
I've been hearing that. My friends in Arizona say they've heard on television that traffic from Denver, you'd have to go north or northwest or northeast to get to the totality shadow. And they're warning that 1 hour of normal driving might take 10 in the traffic
Wow.
jams that might be there. So it could be pretty intense. I'm concerned about our own tour group because we're doing just that. We'll be driving into the path of totality the day before, and hopefully things will work out. So we'll just have to see. So there are still the question of traffic, the question of weather. You've got to have clear weather. People say, "Well, what do you see if it's overcast?" And I can't I can't put a good spin on that one. You don't see it. I mean, things will turn dark, but darkness is not so special. You want darkness, just don't pay your electric bill or go into the closet or something. You don't have to travel far to see darkness. So, there's still unknowns, and so we're keeping our
Always
fingers
are.
crossed for everybody. for this one.
Yes, well, I have my fingers crossed for your tour group and, of course, for ours as well. Thank you so much, Bob, for joining us. It's always great to have you on the show.
A pleasure, Trish. Thank you.
Thank you. That was it's Bob Berman, who joins us all the time to talk about all these really great celestial events. He is a font of information, just constantly riffing off the top of his head. He's really great to have on all the time. And thanks again, Bob, if you can still hear me, for joining us to talk about some of the basics of these lunar eclipses and to sort of help us understand what exactly is going on today. Still cloudy weather, as you can see, in Australia. But we just heard from Jonathan, and he anticipates that it's going to clear up in the next 20 minutes or so. So with any luck, we'll be able to see some of this partial phase of the eclipse. We're currently in the penumbral phase of the eclipse. There will be a very small portion of the moon, about a quarter to a third of the moon, will actually be able to turn that orangey color that Bob just said is the result of all of the sunrises and sunsets around the world, which is just such a poetic way to put it. And it's true. It's the scientific way to put it as well. So we should be able to see that small portion of the moon turning that orange color. So keep an eye out. But right now we're in the penumbral phase, which means the surface of the moon is just darkening slightly. So if you can see the moon outside right now, go outside, take a look, take a picture, send it to us. We'll probably share it on the air.
exactly right. They didn't have, say, 28 days, 30 days, 31 day grids that we have these days. You know, the native tribes had to, and native peoples everywhere. So we had to figure out a way to kind of keep track of what was happening, how to access the radio
जगह से हमारे जगह इंदौर में लाइव चल रहा है दोस्तों। जम्मू में 11 बजे चालू रहेगा, दिल्ली में 11 बजे, उसके बाद मेरे में करता है तो 11:10 तक हम लोग वेटिंग में जाएंगे। 10 से 11:10 तक हम लोग चालू रहेगा। इंदौर से भाई इंदौर 11:05 11:10 के आसपास नेपाल में चालू हो जाएगा। भाई सब लोग 10:50 तैयार रहिए अपनी अपनी जगह पर। बेंगलोर में भी 11 बजे चालू हो जाएगा।
It's a love-hate relationship with the moon because, especially from a photography standpoint, you know, a combination of astrophotography and nightscape stuff, and when the moon is up, it makes it, you know, impossible to do a lot. Moon shadow and the light that the moon, you know, casts over your landscapes for some of the nightscape stuff can be really, really dramatic. So it's kind of a love-hate. I would say it seems like most of the photographers that I've talked to, they prefer a partial phase. So he might be onto something here.
So have you ever? Oh, right.
Hashtag no full moon. There you go.
Yes, we'll start that movement on. So have you actually ever seen a total lunar eclipse? Now we're only seeing a partial eclipse tonight, but a total lunar eclipse has that, you know, that color change.
Yeah, I want to say, did we have that last year or the year before? I was actually flying back from Idaho. Was that a full, when it was the blood moon, right?
Yeah, we had a full total lunar eclipse in 2 years ago in September.
2 years ago. Yep. Then I was actually on a Southwest flight. It was really neat because I knew that this was going on, so my eyes were just, I mean, I'm sure the people next to me just thought I was a crazy person because my head was just pressed against the glass the whole time trying to locate the moon in the night sky, and then finally got it and saw this just rich red image, and then very shortly one of the pilots came on and informed everyone of what was going on off the left side of the plane, and pretty soon everybody was just shoved against, you know, one side of the plane trying to catch a glimpse of it. But yeah, so I guess I'm so new to so much of this stuff that you know, when somebody asks me something specific, have you seen this, I'm going to go, I think I have, but I don't know. So yes, I saw the blood moon, as it was referred to, I guess 2 years ago. It was incredible.
Yeah, they're very cool to look at. And you know, you get these, the total lunar eclipse is the one that everybody thinks of when they think of a lunar eclipse because it turns that blood red color, but you get the partial eclipses and it does change color. It's just sort of very dim or a yellowish, or it's not as spectacular, but it's still pretty cool.
I can remember that because I think either just before that or just after that there was another one that was a partial, and I remember going out front and looking at that just here in Chatsworth, California, just going, oh, okay, there it is. And it was definitely a color change to the way the moon looked, but I think that was just a partial.
Yeah, it's very subtle, but it's still pretty cool to look at, like a time lapse of it.
Absolutely.
So do you notice that you feel any sort of effect that eclipses have on you, whether lunar or solar? Other
than like morphing into a werewolf?
Other than the werewolf.
Yeah. You know what? No, I've never, not with, now this is going to be my first total solar eclipse coming up, so I don't know what effect that's going to have on me, but as far as the lunar ones, no. I've never been like, you know, oh, it's a full moon out, so my knees bothering me. There's nothing like that seems to occur in my life, unfortunately. I'm jealous of the people who have that experience.
Okay, well, it's good to know because, I mean, we do have to test to make sure none of our guests are werewolves.
That makes sense. Makes good sense.
It makes the full moon shows very difficult when they're turning into wolves in the middle.
I would imagine so, yeah. There's a lot of slobbering and howling and, yeah, no articulation.
Yeah, it gets tough. Yeah, I mean, we've noticed that eclipses can have effects on different people in different ways. Certainly, solar eclipses a lot more than lunar eclipses because they're just so brilliant and spectacular. And it should be really cool to see the one in a couple of weeks. Speaking of which, you are actually going to be heading out to Stanley as well in a slightly different area. So are you going to be stopping by the Slough campsite?
Yes, hopefully. I mean, traffic and everything's permitting. I'm bringing the mountain bike, so hopefully to actually get a little bit of riding in during the day, and for sure, hopefully stopping by and saying hi to all the other team members as well as the founders, and being able to hopefully get a chance to say hi to everybody on one of your broadcasts. But I have no idea what to expect or what's going to happen in Stanley because it's such a tiny little town, but there's so many people that are about to sort of descend upon that unsuspecting town. Great mountain communities and good destination places for just nature and that kind of thing. And so when it came time to look for a place to pick for getting into the passive localities, considering it was so close this is the perfect excuse to go visit Stanley. And quite literally was 2 years ago hitting up some of the property managers in the area trying to nab a cabin out there. And so yeah, so when you guys mentioned that you're doing a road trip out there, purely by chance that you happen to be in the same place. I'm looking forward to getting to be a part of this new community that much more. Getting stuff out there. I promise that I'll drop off. There you go.
So you said you've never seen it before. Obviously, you're excited. Do you know what you're like most excited for? How is it in totality?
Yes, the moment of totality. I think I've seen the Alaska Airlines flight where the gentleman was so excited where he was taking this video. It's all over YouTube. Unfortunately, I have to watch his commentary. But no, that was obviously at 30,000 feet or some amount like that. That's an amazing thing to see. But I think I'm most excited for the the moment of totality. That and the diamond ring, I think is going to be really an impressive sort of sight to behold. But I'm running a fine balance between obviously wanting to get there and photograph it, but also not being so sort of mired in the pursuit of the photographs to not also take a moment to actually really just sit back and experience this without worrying about f-stops or things or what I'm trying to accomplish in that way. So yeah, I'm really excited. I don't doubt that it'll have I need that so much just staring at the night sky to watch something like this trigger. I think will have a very significant impact on the planet. Right. What do you guys have planned? Or do we not want to tease it all out right now? Or what are you doing?
We have lots of stuff planned, actually. We have, in addition to just, being there for the eclipse, which is going to be 3-hour long event, from the first contact to the end. We're actually going to be broadcasting the whole eclipse as it goes across the country. So we're going to see it reach totality in a bunch of different places at slightly different times. So we should have a bunch of times throughout the day. And also, if you're going to Stanley, you're in at our website, which is all of our speakers are allowed to do. There's going to be lots of talks with astronomers. We're having some breakfast events and doing some workshops about astrophotography and telescope, things like that. So you get to see the whole astronomical experience for 3 days. So I hope you participate in a whole bunch of that stuff.
I do want to buy it's literally just like I think we're all learning on the fly what's happening in town as far as traffic and getting around and that kind of thing. I'm
Yeah,
treating it like
probably.
it's a disaster preparedness exercise of sorts of like bringing everything with me, bringing as much food as I can and just kind of hunkering down in one location as much as possible. And then I quite literally am just thinking, I'll hop on the bike and go say hi. It'll be fun.
Well, thank you so much, Roderick, for seeing you in Idaho.
Thank you,
And
likewise.
of course, we want to see what kind of photos you take during the eclipse, so make sure you send them to us. See them.
I promise nothing.
Pressure's off.
That's my first time, so it's not the priority, but I do want to try a bunch of different things. I'm bringing my solar scope, my regular telescope with a solar filter, all sorts of stop ND filters, camera lenses, and GoPros. Yeah, it's gonna be a little ridiculous.
Well, we look forward to seeing you and seeing you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and let's broadcast.
All right, well, we still have plenty more to come here for this partial lunar eclipse coming up after a very quick break. I will be talking to you about this, so stick around.
Yeah. Don't stop. 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 Stop.